Hello. Robert Sarkis, Biomax Procurement Manager. I'm Robert Sarkis.
Hi,
the
I'm
Procurement Manager.
Nice to meet
Russo.
you.
No relation to Jennifer Russo.
No. Russo's like Smith of Italian. There's so many of us.
Got it. Which affiliate are you with?
I'm with the Keystone.
Okay.
Yeah, you familiar with us? We have 16 sites.
I've heard you guys were sponsoring the Medical Directors Council meeting 2 weeks ago, right? I saw some of the registration forms there. What state though are you?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So Biomax, we're a tissue collection service. So we provide all kinds of human biospecimens to medical researchers and different projects.
Explain how that works?
Yeah. So for fetal tissue, obviously. What the research actually is?
Yeah.
It's mainly stem cells actually. Yeah.
Okay.
People talk about fetal tissue. It's fetal stem cells is what it is.
Okay.
And most of us are familiar like with the controversy between adult, embryonic, fetal got kind of lost in the mix, but that's where some of the most interesting translational research is happening, meaning stuff that's actually going to go from the laboratory to the clinic the soonest. That's where the farthest advanced FDA clinical trials are. A lot of disease modeling is done actually using fetal stem cells and fetal tissue. You have humanized mouse models, which is basically an immunodeficient mouse that has human fetal stem cells implanted into it. It reconstitutes the human immune system in the mouse, so you can model all kinds of diseases, drug testing, HIV.
Right.
It's very cool. It's a really exciting field. So anyway, so the biggest problem though in that whole area of research right now is supply chain access, right? Is the researcher demand for materials is not being met on the supply side just because the networking isn't happening. So we're trying to facilitate that.
I understand.
So are you guys a surgical affiliate?
We are.
Okay. Yeah. How late in gestation do you go?
16 weeks.
18?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you have a limit, like what's your lower limit?
Yeah, our lower limit is probably 12 weeks. I mean, depending on the specific researcher, some people are looking like for brain specimens at like 6 weeks, but that's more the rarity. Typically, most projects are looking for second trimester specimens. It's easier for us as well, like for our technician to find material at the later gestation, just because it's not as shredded up and all of that.
Okay.
So, are you a high volume affiliate? How many procedures per year do you think you do?
I can tell you probably about 5,000.
Across how many surgical sites?
5.
Oh. And what kind of geographic area is that in Pennsylvania?
If you look at the state of Pennsylvania, we're the eastern half.
Okay.
Yeah, so we cover a lot of territory.
Do you cover Pittsburgh?
We don't know. We're the eastern half. Pittsburgh's on the western half.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's Pittsburgh, Erie on the western half, and we're on the right.
Oh, wait, do you cover Philadelphia then?
Except Philadelphia. We do have Bucks County, which is the county above Philadelphia. So Philadelphia is their own unit at the moment. Yeah.
Well, Pennsylvania is definitely a big research hub. So actually, if we could start working with actually really to have any site on the East Coast, because part of our goal is to be able to be sourcing material from locations as close to researchers as possible, because that's something that they would want, because the material is it's sensitive. You're looking for high cell viability.
Formerly a biochemist, so you don't have to talk.
Oh, good. Cell viability, all of that. Excellent. So so the major research hubs we're talking like California, Wisconsin, Texas, and North Carolina, technically East Coast, but you get anywhere on the eastern seaboard and you're kind of within courier distance, so it's good.
How long is it good for in that sense? Because I don't really know much about your area.
24 hours. Probably, I mean,
so
less. Really, that would even be
procedure to delivery.
Oh yeah. We would literally be like overnighting it, or same day courier to people. I mean, some researchers can take frozen.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you a lot. I don't mean to.
That's fine.
Questions. So, when the procedure happens, we send it directly to you within 24 hours.
We would
or
actually
send it directly to the researcher.
We would send one of our technicians.
Vanessa, nice to meet you.
I was a little hungry, but
that's okay.
No, we would come in and we would be like a floater, do all the consenting, and then just take a little area in the path lab. And so we would, find the tissues there, and then, we would box it up and be on our way.
Oh, so you would come in and do it?
I would, or
one of our other techs, yeah.
So do you do, that's interesting. So do you do like a train the trainer kind of a thing where if someone from my organization were to shadow you, that we can then take up the mantle for you and do that?
We could, yeah, we're happy to do that. Yeah, it's just I think a lot of affiliates, probably just given the practice environment, would prefer to have their staff doing their stuff and not have we just want to be as low impact as possible on you guys.
Absolutely,
so, yeah.
Absolutely. So how does that work? Like, so money-wise, let's talk turkey. Like,
right.
Do we pay you, or you pay? Like, obviously, you don't pay us. Like,
well, so we definitely return a portion of our researcher fees to the clinics and doctors' offices that we work with, as a thank you for for letting us do it. Now, if you'll let us do it for free, we don't. We don't have to. Typically, we're quoting people about $100 per specimen, and the money is really it's about two things. It's about, number one, securing our place there and kind of our priorities, so that because there are other procurement services out there. And once one gets in one place, it's very, it's difficult. There's often not room to share.
Right.
So we would want to get, secure our place of priority over, any of the other TPOs out there. And then number two, it's just about, to compensate for, any cost to you, your patient revenue, stuff like that. So.
Okay. So,
so what's your position? Are you
I'm the compliance program administrator for all of the 16 sites. So I basically deal with the risk and quality management area and medical services.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm looking at is sort of like alternatives. I'm a former researcher myself. I worked in R&D and did a lot of work in advancing ELISA technology for tuberculosis testing and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I come from that world, and I love this, and so I would love to be able to establish something, but you can understand it's delicate for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And so I kind of would
It has to be very discreet.
I have to. I'm a little bit more of I kind of don't care what people say. I feel like the work is so valuable that to me in and of itself is an argument for everybody to shut up. Yeah. But I'm not the one that can make that call. So I definitely want to get as much information from you guys and establish like an open communication with you guys.
Do you have a card?
We need a lot of transparency to make people I work with feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But I am all about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm a researcher at heart. So I'm really down with
Do you have a card on you?
I do.
Mine are all on the other side. Yeah.
Robert's business card here.
Which is I heard about you guys in our meeting.
Oh, were you in? Excuse me, sorry.
Okay.
Speaking of tuberculosis, no, just kidding. What I need is some stem cells. Oh, cool. So it's got the map right on here. So you guys are all of that. Awesome.
Yes, we are all of that.
And then, Vanessa Russo. So you were in the panel discussion today on tissue procurement, because Deb Vanderhei was telling us that was going to be.
It was a topic of discussion in our patient services affinity day meeting, and we're starting to get some interesting behaviors from our disposal company. That doesn't necessarily
Stericycle or
that doesn't necessarily want to pick up our materials when there's protesters outside, and that's not something that we can help.
Right.
And it hasn't really been too much of an issue, but if it progresses, as I'm trying to project and see how that's going to go, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go well. That I would like to start to have discussions and make other arrangements. And this is absolutely the route I would choose to go in a nanosecond.
Right.
So, you know, obviously, I wanna do what's safest for us, and I wanna, as an organization, and I wanna make sure that we maximize the materials to be used for research.
Right.
Because I can't tell you, I'm loving this, and I
Right.
really want to bring this back. So,
Yeah.
do you have like a copy of a contract that I can look at and send to me
Yeah,
that I can
we have a
disseminate
yeah.
and talk to my
Yeah,
people
we
about some
typically-
real serious about doing that?
Yeah, we typically use just a materials transfer agreement. I have a redacted version of that I could send you.
Okay.
We're in discussions with a couple other affiliates right now, using that as a prototype, kind of. So you guys have never done tissue
Not to my
donation
knowledge, but I've
before?
only been with the organization for a year and a half. So
Okay.
I don't know if they previously did that and bowed out because of pressure, like social pressure, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm new. I've
Yeah.
just had Stericycle
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Was there any guidance from the panel on how to handle contractual issues and things like that? Because I know that Deb had said that was something that was
it was
maybe going to.
glossed over, but
so they really
I think
didn't
that
spend a
we
lot
have
of-
resources to
Yeah.
sort of ask those particular questions that affect our affiliate. That was sort of the guidance at the moment in the meeting.
Yeah.
Because there's so much variation, state
Yeah.
to state to state
Yeah.
to state, that it becomes very, very difficult for the Federation to be aware of every single thing, nuance that each state brings to the
Yeah.
table.
So they didn't really they didn't spend a lot of time on talking about actual tissue donation.
They did.
Oh.
They spent some time talking about it. It was a combination of talking about that and talking about disposal
Yeah.
and talking about issues of both.
Yeah.
So obviously we have a bigger picture. Like if
Yeah.
we were any other healthcare facility, it would
Right.
be an issue.
Right.
But because we are who we are and because the material
Right.
is what it is,
Right.
it becomes very, very tricky.
Right.
And so it has to be done very carefully and very thoughtfully. I would want to go ahead right now because I feel like we have so much material and so much material to offer.
Right.
That it's like a no-brainer for me. But
Yeah.
I know that there are people that have been with the organization 20, 30 years that have a much bigger social picture than I have because I'm just the lab nerd. You know what I mean? So never thought that would be a negative. But in this
Interesting.
situation, I think I want to develop like really solid reasoning and have trust in the
Yeah.
people that we're going to be working with.
So that when you present it as well to your people, you can
so I
very
can't-
confidently defend the proposal and be like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And there has to be trust.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know, this is kind of a different subject, do you happen to know what your second trimester volume is per year of those 5,000? Or
so that's the material you're most interested in.
Most interested in, and if you're going up to 16 to 18 weeks, and I mean, let's just say, assume that you're tracking with the national average, about 10% of your procedures are second try, that's at least like 500 a year, which is at least like 10 a week, right? Yeah.
So you would go, I'm sorry, the bottom end is 12, right?
Yeah.
12, you want 12 and up?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, really most interested in 14 and up, I would say.
But just with like what they ask us for, like what we've been seeing is the trend of about 12 a lot of the emphasis is on the higher.
And what do you do when you come in? Like explain that process. Like,
Well, I come in and I can really just be a floater in the clinic, whatever, but mostly just talking to the patients, consenting them, and then on a collection day, I would be in the path lab, I would get the specimens needed for whatever it is. We have a chart there where we have the researchers who are asking us what they're looking for, and so then we would collaborate with you guys, and that would be collection day. So collection day is, basically go pick up what we need, and then out of your hair. Simple.
She's going to need to be, basically your light dish for, POC examinations, stuff like that. We would be using that to do the dissections and all that. They could also, help out with I guess,
I know that we
the
have
flow in the path lab.
I would
if you need
definitely
another
wanna
person
be in
back
on that
there,
and
yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Like every aspect. Of
Yeah. I mean, and the lower limit for the gestational age, that we can kind of play with too, depending on how intact the specimens are coming out. So I don't know, is your medical director here at this meeting, or any of your providers, or no?
Yeah. Actually, they were here last year.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of my turn.
Oh, okay. Do you know about their protocols for how they're doing most of their procedures, like for cervical prep? Is it Dilapan or laminaria or meso?
Laminaria.
Uh-huh.
So, has anybody from PPFA like come and talk to you and engage you on a national level?
Yeah, we're close with Deborah Nucatola. She's been really helpful to make a lot of affiliate level connections, and I wish, because she's a provider and at the Los Angeles affiliate as well. I wish that we could be working there. But unfortunately, there's already another company that is very tight with them and has been for quite some time.
It's hard to break good solid.
It is. No, and that's and that's the other thing, is the providers are very important. Having a lot of communication with the providers and being able to just kind of let them in on what our process is and kind of what we're looking for. Because the great thing about like that, or sometimes they can be very conscientious about trying to facilitate the whole thing, and and that makes it a little bit better for everybody. So
you're servicing one of our affiliates right now, right?
We're talking with two right now that I'm not sure I'm supposed to say who they are.
Okay, that's fine.
But we're scheduled to do a site visit at one of them, and we're scheduling the other site visit in just a little bit. So it's been difficult because we're a startup. We're very new. We're only about a year old.
How many of you are there?
How many TPO, how many organizations? Oh, no. I'm the procurement manager. My boss, Susan Tenenbaum, who's not at this meeting, but she'll be at NAF. I don't know if you'll be at NAF in April.
Yeah.
She's the one who started it, and she used to work in clinics back in like the 80s, I think, like a long time ago. And then her assistant is also one of our techs, Brianna. And we're pretty small. We're just a handful. We're a startup. We operate dropship. No, so unfortunately, in California, all of the California affiliates are already partnered with existing tissue procurement organizations. So we've been having to cast our gaze a lot farther afield to find, to look in other states to find people that we could partner with.
So I have a question. What happens if we all attack you here at this meeting, right?
And we can monopolize.
Here's my concern because I'm all about small and startups and that as well. But
what kind of capacity do we have, basically?
And expansion capacity.
It's pretty scalable, to be honest. This is a pretty simple plug-in solution that's very scalable. Because really all we need is just we have a 1099 technician, procurement technician, and we just fly them out there for the whatever time during the weekend is your highest volume procedure day. They just set up shop in the back. We operate dropship, so they bring their FedEx boxes and everything to and box everything up and ship it off from the nearest place.
Because we have 5 sites.
Yeah.
And 5 days that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Each has a different day.
Each has a different day.
So you would have to have the ability to go to spend a week with us.
Is there one site that has the highest volume though? That's like your biggest surgical center?
They're all pretty high volume.
Oh, really?
So
they're pretty evenly distributed among all of them.
So it's pretty.
And is there a particular center? Oh, there's Deb Vanderhei. We need to talk to her. She's our other contact on the national level. Are all 5 of those sites? Do they all go into the second trimester? Or is there only one that goes like all the way to 18?
So it would basically be coming to all of our sites. Like
really?
I would want to do that with all of our.
Do all your sites do procedures all the way to? Oh, and you have 5 of them.
So we have.
We've been talking. So that's what we were trying to understand. So how much they actually talked about tissue procurement, or was it really like? I don't know.
No, we didn't talk about procurement. We just talked about if you're going to participate in a donation program, here are some things to think about.
Yeah. So how can we, because we're talking a little bit about contractual issues and things like that, and maybe we shouldn't have this conversation here. I don't know if that's appropriate or no. It's good. If we're all here, let's
organization is
You asked a great question about. Did you ask a question about can you help us with state laws?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what they are, and I actually
Oh, no. But it sounds like Roger's willing to help us.
Okay.
Pennsylvania's a big research hub, so I would imagine that it's probably a good location. Yeah, I mean, so I was going to say, help us help you. You know, what do we, in terms of guidance from Roger and Kristen, and what do we need to?
It wasn't any different than what I told you before. It's that PPFA thinks it's a great idea to participate in research through tissue donation. That you really need to be careful and follow the rules and think about the headlines if something goes south.
Right.
And if you're going to do it right.
Right.
And we're here to help you figure out how to do it right. So understand federal laws and then state laws. And then have airtight contracts so that somebody can't come back and say, you're selling tissue for money, and that's just that's a bad headline.
Right. I mean, as far as that goes, I feel like failure is not an option. I mean, unless somebody is going to do some market testing and focus grouping and to figure, but otherwise, I mean, I just don't think it's something that you talk about in public, and it just can't be. I mean.
Well, yeah, but there's there's opportunities for people to find out about it.
I sort of, my stance on that is like, I feel like sometimes bullied by ridiculous lies and this media that doesn't focus on truth. And I don't really think that we should participate in that level of discussion, and that we should operate as an organization the way any other organization would. And so I don't feel that I'm a researcher at heart, so like I love the idea of being able to do this and participate in research because my career doesn't do that. I would love to see this happen somehow. I'm probably maybe not so sensitive to like ridiculous debate. Like, let's have a debate on the real issue and truths. That's a discussion I would participate in. I don't feel like we should participate in discussions based on truth. I mean, that's kind of my thought process in that.
Based on what?
I may be alone, but that's what I feel about that.
Are you suggesting that the conversation was too conservative?
I feel like sometimes this is my first time here. I've only been with the organization for a year and a half, so I don't know the history like somebody who's been here for a really long time. But I've always been a supporter. I've been a patient, and now I'm working here. And I just feel like we shouldn't participate in ridiculous social discussions. We should participate in the valid ones, and that we should not curtail our business for ridiculousness. Maybe curtail our business for an actual real discussion.
I don't think anybody was suggesting that curtailed. The message to me that I heard today was go for it. We think it's a great idea. Just do it right.
Exactly, and I understand that, but like a company like this that wants to give out organization money for the tissue, like I think that's a valid exchange, and that's okay, providing that we are very sensitive to the patient and consent and all of that. And I don't see a problem with that. I understand that we have to worry about a rep and everything like that, but.
Well, I think a congressional hearing scared the bejesus out of people 15 years ago when there was a congressional hearing on it. It turned out to be fraud. But
what was the fraud?
There was a person in opposition that said Planned Parenthood had changed the way it does its procedures so that they can collect tissue so that they can sell tissue. It turned out that was false, but it sparked a congressional hearing and some federal legislation, which is where some of that came from. So we just want to not have to repeat that anymore.
Right.
And there are a lot of Planned Parenthood. There are Planned Parenthoods that participate in donation programs that are reimbursed for. And they're,
and that's fine.
yeah, it's fine. We're just suggesting that call us, help us, or let us help you walk through some of those steps to make sure
Can I give you my card?
Yeah.
We can talk about this some more. I get real, I get real passionate about not being bullied by dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you seen After Tiller?
The bully piece.
Have
I
Do you remember Susan Robinson's line from After Tiller, which is that you can have two reactions to a bully, right? You can either kind of like cower away and try and get away from the bully, or you can say, oh yeah? and we have to, I think we have to be in that position. Oh yeah.
And then there's independent providers that are doing this, and we have no control over what they're doing. And that could be the headline.
Right.
That could be the what?
Headline.
Oh.
You know.
If they don't, yeah, if they're not as that's part of something we've been, there's a lot of reasons why we've been concerned about independent providers, which we talked about a little bit before, is, if they're closing down and they're not, that it might not be a sustainable relationship. But yeah, that's another, that's another thing.
Or it could be a very well-recognized hospital that does it. And the headline is the headline. We're not just saying that it would be Planned Parenthood's headline, but it would be a headline that could potentially create legislation that would make this impossible for anybody. Don't tell anybody. So we don't want to make any missteps. We just want to make sure we do it right.
We have all this valuable material.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
So passionate about seeing that happen and partner with the right
people.
people.
And so are many women. So, as well as people who work in all the health centers. So we're glad you're here. You decide you're the only.
We're the only one here. Is Kristen or Roger still here? It might be helpful to just chat with them about.
I know they're both in Washington D.C.
Oh, you know if they're still at
I have a meeting with Roger tomorrow at 9:15 and a meeting with Kristen at 10:30. So I don't know if they were planning on coming here. See if I can find them.
Because we were talking about the materials transfer agreement that we use for most contracts, and I don't know if they got that specific in the discussion today about what that looks like to be careful about,
They just said, if you're going to do it, know that we're here to help you.
Yeah. Don't do it alone.
Well, let us help you review your contracts, or let us help you identify the state laws. We definitely know the federal laws, but we don't know all the state laws because people from all 50 states have not asked.
Yeah.
And
so Roger is the person to really go through this with.
Well, Roger was the head of litigation and law for many, many years. He has retired from that position. He is a senior advisor for litigation and law because he was the one that was involved in the congressional hearings 15 years ago. He has most of the background and knowledge. And he was the one that spoke today, and he's the one that said. So he would have somebody on his staff who serves Pennsylvania state law. But I think he was pretty clear this morning this afternoon saying, go through Kristen.
Right.
Who works for CAPS.
Right.
And she'll
follow it. Yeah. All right.
So I think go for it. And use us to the extent that you can.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And I know Northern California, Marmonte, LA, they all provide donation for remuneration. So they would also be good people to check with.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and then do you know about the other, so of those other three there was Shasta Pacific, and then the other three that were
Which is now called Northern California.
Oh, Shasta Pacific. I thought it was Southern Pacific or Pacific Southwest,
Pacific
San Diego.
Southwest.
Yeah.
Uses somebody else.
Right.
Shasta Pacific is in the northern part of California. Now they're called Northern California as of January 1st.
Okay.
And then Marmonte is East Bay.
Right.
a big area.
Yeah, the ones in NorCal I think are all working with STEM Express. They're all tight with
I
them.
don't know.
But the other three out of California affiliates, or the non-California affiliates, you said spoke up during the meeting.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No,
You
and
sound
I don't know where they're from, just because I don't know everybody yet. But I asked, when I went and saw you, I asked my staff to help me figure out who they were, and I see one of my staff, so I'll go ask them. Yeah, she asked more questions than anybody.
Oh, she was really getting into it during the.
Yeah. I hope that she didn't leave thinking that we were saying don't
We're
do it.
discouraging it.
Because Roger said I'm going to say a number of things, and I only want you to go away with one message. I think this is a good idea.
Right.
Now, here's what you need to look out for, and then at the end of it, he said, and I just want to reiterate, I think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Good.
No, I mean, we
That's
had
good to know.
conversations, and we were like talking about logistics and things like that, and she knows she's excited, and we're here to help. So I think one of her things is really just trying to put all the pieces together and really trying to understand relate to her region and then what everybody else is doing. So I'm sure it's just like a lot of information all at once.
And I think they, what is their gestation limit, did she say?
She said 16 or 18 weeks. I'm hoping 18 weeks is what it was.
Oh, they're in Allentown. Oh, they're Keystone.
Which
So,
Pennsylvania is a big research hub, so that would be great to open up that area.
Well, and our new executive vice president, was the CEO of her affiliate up until the end of the year. So that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing.
And as far as the specifics of remuneration, is there any guidance from Roger other than how to is? Because one thing we've talked about with Devnu Katola before is just making sure that that's kind of back-ended in the right way, so that it's a reasonable
yes, he gave
covering.
Them very clear instructions today that the federal law says you cannot be remunerated for tissue. What you can be remunerated for is the costs of collection. So if there's admin costs, like extra staff time, transport fees, materials or supplies, that you just need to really document what those are and say, this is $100 worth of whatever, or $50 worth of admin time materials that it's costing us. So that if somebody comes in and says, you're collecting money for tissue, we'll say, no, we're not. We're collecting money for the administrative costs. So have somebody come in.
Okay.
So he gave them 4 or 5 things that they should consider. So he was very clear about that.
And I guess just to make sure that language is how do you put that in a that's just to frame things in that way on paper.
I don't know the answer to that.
Oh.
But that would be something that our attorneys could help with.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they asked, we have the PPFA. I was she said, do you know about us? I said,
She's super sick. So don't
Oh no. Oh gosh. Yeah, we just got over.
Yeah, I got over mine too.
You sound still. You have it.
Oh, this is my regular reading.
You think so? Seems deeper.
He's growing up.
Yeah.
I'm just getting older.
Okay, well, I'll go look for Roger and I'll text Kristen.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, she can come chat.
Sit down and have questions.
Questions?